Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
Drafted. And where were you living at the time?
Wichita.
Wichita. Why did you join, or did they make you, or?
I was drafted.
Yeah, you were drafted. Okay. Why did you pick the Navy that you joined? Why did you join the Navy?
Why did I pick the Navy?
Yeah.
I didn't like what I saw at the Army. And I thought in the Navy I would get to see more.
Do more action.
More action.
Do you recall your first days in the service?
Yes. In boot camp?
Yeah. Your first experience.
It was going in an entirely new sort of thing. Didn't know what laid ahead of me. And it was rough.
Yeah, I can imagine. What did it feel like? It was rough. It was just...
Well, I felt like I was out there alone.
Was it hard being that far away from anybody you knew?
Well, first time away from home, really. I had been away from home just 60 miles. This is the first time I've really been away from home.
Is there anything else you would like to tell about boot camp or training experiences?
Boot camp was quite rigid. And of course this was right in the middle of the war. All they were doing was getting the basic training and getting us out of there so we could get into active service. And at the time, sickness was rampart to the boot camp. There was spinal meningitis, whooping cough, scarlet fever, mumps.
Did you catch anything?
Not at that time. But I got the mumps when I came back off of boot camp leave. But my company was quarantined all the time we were in boot camp. We went to the mess hall separately. We could not go to any ship service, which was the canteen, or what you want to call it. Had to send somebody there because of the quarantine. We did not get off the base all the time. I was there 6 weeks.
Do you remember your instructors there?
Not too well.
Not too well. Did anything motivate you to endure it or go through it?
What motivated me?
Yeah.
I just knew I had to get through it.
Which war or wars did you serve in?
World War II.
World War II. And where did you go there in World War II?
Well, the first, see, I was in what they called the Armed Guard. We were naval personnel assigned to merchant ships to man the guns and stand watches. So, on the first ship I was on, by the way, we picked up a New Liberty ship in Portland out of Kaiser Shipyards. And on our first trip, it was to the New Hebrides Islands, which is north and west of Australia. And we unloaded in the bay. There was no place to unload our cargo at the port. Unloaded on the barges. Got unloaded, went to New Caledonia. Then we went to Australia. Went to Brisbane and Townsville. Then we went back to the United States. Then I had to leave for 3 weeks. Back to San Francisco, which was my home base, Treasure Island. Formed another crew and assigned to another ship.
Another mission or journey? Or
Guess what?
did you go someplace else, or where were you?
That trip, we went to New Guinea, in 3 different ports in New Guinea, to Australia, back up to New Guinea. We were transporting goods and supplies from Australia to New Guinea. Back to Australia, we were in Melbourne and Sydney, and we left Melbourne and we went north towards India. We were about offices due east of the Philippines when they had news that the war with Europe was over. Went on to Calcutta, India. We were there for about a week or 2. Down to Colombo, Ceylon, which is Sri Lanka now. Up around on the other coast of India to Goa, which was a Portuguese port. Now Goa, since it was Portuguese, Portugal was neutral. We were the first ship in there since the beginning of the war. Loaded up with peanuts. Took those peanuts to Marseille, France. In the meantime, we hit a typhoon in the Indian Ocean, and the first 3 holes of the ship took on water, so the peanuts got wet. And we got to Marseille, France. Unloaded the peanuts, and we went to Leghorn, Italy, which is in Italian was Livorno. And while we were anchored there, the war with Japan was over.
Do you remember the surroundings that you were in while you were traveling?
Oh yes, the jungle islands.
Yeah.
Nothing but trees and coconut groves.
Did you get tired of being there, or?
I was never there any length of time to get tired of it.
What was your job or duty when you were?
I was a gunner.
Were you in combat, or did you see any
We
combat?
were never in actual combat. We were in the zones, but due to the nature of our job, we were not seeking combat. Still merchant ships. Our job is merely to protect it in case of
Attack.
attack.
Were there any casualties in your
No
unit?
casualties.
That's good. What were some of your most memorable experiences there?
I suppose my most memorable experience was meeting my older brother in New Guinea.
Wow.
From correspondence at home, I knew his APO number. And we were shuttling up and down the coast of New Guinea, and I was checking out the APOs, and I knew I was getting close. Came into Langeback, New Guinea, and that was his APO number at that place. So another guy and I rode a truck carrying bombs right up to where his tent was. Dropped in on him. He didn't know I was anywhere around.
Were you ever a prisoner of war?
No.
Did you receive any medals or citations?
Just The regular medals are for
Navy.
for the areas.
And when did you get them and how? Or how did you get the medals? For
They weren't issued to us. They were just, we were just told that we were eligible to wear these ribbons.
Did you stay in touch with your family?
By letter.
By letter. Did you have good food, bad food? Okay food? Or
Have what?
did you have good, bad, or okay food? It was bad, or
The food?
yeah.
Oh, our food was generally good on board ship. In fact, probably better, way better than average of the rest of the service.
Do you know the reason why? This?
Due to the fact that we were on a merchant ship. Unlike most of the other services, the Merchant Marine, the only thing that we did was stand watch, man our guns. The Merchant Marine took over all the other duties that was on the ship. We had our own mess hall separate from the Merchant Marine. The Merchant Marine provided us with what you call waiters or mess boys. We had menus. We'd go in and sit down, order what we wanted. They'd bring it to us. When we were done, we'd leave. No KP. The merchant crew took care of everything.
That was nice.
Just like a floating restaurant.
Did you have a lot of supplies? Enough supplies?
A few times we run short. We had to take on supplies in Australia and New Guinea, and a lot of times those supplies were what the regular soldiers over there were getting, sea rations and stuff, but not much.
Did you ever feel the pressure or stress?
I can't recall ever feeling any pressure, any stress.
Did you do anything for good luck
No.
to get this? How did you keep yourself occupied while not
The
working?
watches were 4 on, 4 hours on, 8 hours off. And in combat war zones, it was 4 on and 4 off. And any spare time we had, we took care of our guns. Made sure they were in good shape. Any spare time, mostly spent playing cards. A lot of times we did exercises, calisthenics and stuff like that. It was not required, but we did it just for our own good. That's how we took care of our spare time.
Were there any entertainers there?
No.
What did you do while you were on leave? Where did
I
you
suppose I did what almost every serviceman does when he's on leave. He'd come home, renewed our acquaintances at home. Around, see where the action was. That's where I met my wife. I was home on leave from boot camp, and another boy that I grew up with, Roxbury, was still home, so we came to Lindsborg. He was going to college at the time. And that's when we met the girls, and things went on from there. And the second leave, I went up to see her.
Where were you? Did you go back to Wichita? Or
When I was separated, I came back to Roxbury. At the time, any person that was drafted or enlisted was guaranteed a job at the place that he worked when the war was over. I elected to stay around for 6 weeks, and we formed a American Legion at Roxbury, which they did not have before. And we built our own building. A bunch of us guys stayed around to do that. When that was done, I went back to Wichita, went back to work, Coleman's, and I worked there approximately 6 months. I quit, went to college on a GI Bill.
Was there anything humorous or unusual while you were there?
There was always things going on that you had to be on the watch for. You could never relax. If you did, it'd be too bad. I remember one time we were anchored in the Bay of San Francisco. We'd come in from the South Pacific. There was no room at the dock, so we were anchored out there for a couple of days, waiting for a space to come in. We had a bunch of Filipinos on board ship that was in the Merchant Marine, and so they started fishing for crabs. They caught quite a few crabs. Well, we took some of those crabs, put them in the sheets of some of the guys that were ashore on leave, on liberty. You imagine what they found when they came back off of leave, feeling pretty good, pulled them back to the sheets and crawled in there with some big crabs. And hotfoots. Be laying in your bunk, half asleep, somebody sneak up there, put a match in your shoe and set it afire. And pranks like that. And some of us got seasick. I got seasick every time I went out. Took about 3 or 4 days, and then I'd be all right. Come back in port, be in for 2 weeks, go out again, same thing all over again. And when you were seasick, you were sick. We had no seasickness pills at the time, nothing to keep us from being sick. They had no pity on us. You stood your watches, carried a helmet to vomit in. And of course there's always somebody doing something, aggravated. Like, what did we have lunch today? A greasy pork chop when you're sick? That's the way things went.
What did you think of the officers you worked with?
I never really had too much contact with officers. The highest officer that we ever had was an ensign, which is the very first grade of an officer in the Navy.
While you were there, did you keep a journal?
No.
That you wrote anything?
No.
Okay. Where were you when your service ended?
I was discharged in St. Louis.
And what did you do when, in the days and weeks afterward?
I went straight
Straight home?
to Roxbury. And like I told you, I stayed around for approximately 4 weeks, helped build the Legion building, which we founded. I was a charter member of that. And my 3 other brothers were also charter members of the Legion in Roxbury.
Right afterward, did you work and then go back to school?
I went to work back to Coleman approximately 5 or 6 months. Then I quit and went to Bethany College.
And how long were you there?
I graduated.
Yeah, 4 years.
Graduated in 1950.
So you didn't make any very close friends while you were in the service?
I had a couple of friends that was pretty close, but due to the fact that I was on 2 different ships during the time I was in there, it didn't form any real long-lasting relationships.
Now do you keep in touch with them?
No, I don't.
Did you join a veterans organization?
I was a charter member of the Legion at Roxbury, and I am a life member of the Legion here in Lindsborg. I'm a life member of the VFW in McPherson. I'm on the color guard of both organizations. That is, we do Veterans Day services, Memorial Day services, burial services.
What did you do as a career after the war? Work at Coleman's?
I went to work at Rodney Milling Company. I was there for 16 years. They closed it down. So I thought I would, by the way, I had a teacher certificate, which I never used. After the mill closed, I decided I would renew my teaching certificate, so I went to school at Emporia State. Took a couple of courses there, and in the meantime, I took a job at Kit Manufacturing, mobile home manufacturer. Put bread on the table. Before I got through school, taking the courses, I was putting into management there at Kit. So I never did renew my certificate, so I stayed at Kit for 19 years and I retired from there.
Did your military experience influence you about how you thought about the war or about the military in general?
Yes.
Do you attend any reunions now?
Got what?
Do you attend any reunions?
Reunions?
Yeah.
No.
No. How did your service and experience affect your life in general?
Probably changed my life completely.
How did it change it?
How, in the first place, if I had not been in the service, I might have stayed in Wichita, Coleman the rest of my life. I might not ever got out of Kansas.
Would this affect your marriage with?
I might not have met my wife.
Is there any stories or things you would like to add that have not been covered?
Well, I would like to say that World War II probably changed the course of history, changed more people's lives than any other incidents in the history of the United States.
Is there anything else, any stories you'd like to tell?
Can't think of anything at this time. I never drew any money all the time I was overseas. Cigarettes were on sale on board ship for 40 cents a carton. They allowed 2 cartons a week. I bought all the cigarettes I was allowed, and I saved them. In Australia, I'd go ashore with a couple of cartons of cigarettes. That was $12. In India, they were $16 a carton. In France, they were $16. In Italy, they were $16. So you can understand that I really didn't need much other money. That money was used to buy mostly souvenirs. I even traded cigarettes for pistols in France. I came home with a 9mm Browning automatic pistol, a German P38 9mm pistol, and a Beretta 7.65mm pistol. I came home with stuff from France, perfume from Italy, from Egypt, India, Australia, all bought with what I made off of cigarettes. First of the black marketeers.
Well, thank you for coming in and sharing what you